What's going on, guys? My name is Brian, also known as That Journaling Guy, and today I am bringing you my first plan with me in 4 years. Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've done one of these videos, but I think I've reframed my mindset when it comes to making these videos, because it came to a point where I didn't want to just keep talking about how I was setting up my bullet journal, because a lot of the times I kept the same process, right? And I saw that a lot of other bullet journal videos were that way, but I feel like it would be easier and better if I used this time to really kind of talk to you a little bit about the process, but more talk to you just in general about what's going on and everything. And overall, it's just a good way for me to connect with you guys a little bit better than just my regular videos, where I don't really have the space or the time to kind of talk about random stuff that I do. Like, for example, I stream on Twitch. It's been a little bit, but we're picking up that schedule again. And if you ever wanted to see some kind of journaling stream, you could follow me at That Journaling Guy. Twitch.tv/That Journaling Guy. So for this month, I decided to do like an 80s retro theme, right? Like, I didn't want to do anything lovey-dovey, kind of like Valentine's Day themed, because I feel like that's like everybody's default, like, oh, February, Valentine's Day, it's time to do some hearts and some Cupid stuff. I was like, all right, I don't want to do that. So there's no rhyme or reason why I picked February to be this retro month, but just happened to be in my little spread where I plan out every theme for the year that February was the retro month. And now it was interesting why I picked like the 80s retro, because I was actually talking to somebody a little bit younger. He's a family friend, and I want to say he's like 11, right? And we were just talking, and he started like naming old school, quote unquote, old school things, right? And then I started to realize that the old school things he was mentioning were just like things that I had growing up. Like the 2000s was old school to him already. So he was talking about like flip phones and like iPod classics, and Blockbuster came up into the conversation. And I'm like, oh, we're in that generation now. Like I've officially reached that age where like a lot of the stuff I grew up with is considered old school. So from that conversation, I realized that people kind of have that fascination with, I don't know, things that are 20 years younger than them. Like we still have a fascination with like the 80s, the 90s, whether it be like the music, the movies, things like when you think of the 80s, you think of things like VHS tapes, Walkmans, mixtapes, like neon colors. And I think still today in today's day and age, it's still an aesthetic that a lot of people enjoy, you know, more specifically like the synth wave kind of aesthetic. And I definitely still enjoy it, especially because I feel like you're seeing a reemergence of that aesthetic because of like a cyberpunk kind of vibe that's going around right now. Regardless, I have done a vaporwave theme before, but this one I wanted to go a little bit more old school, not too crazy with the synthwave, vaporwave. It was more like geometric shapes and shadows. And I really like how this cover page turned out. By the way, it has taken me this process. So one of the reasons that I decided to start doing Plan With Me was one, so that you guys can hold me accountable, and so I make sure I finish every month, okay? Because there's times where I skip some months. But then second, because I want to see how much time it takes me to actually set up my bullet journal from start to finish. And this bullet journal took me about 4 hours. And one of the biggest pain points in setting up this month's bullet journal were these floppy disks, because I needed to color every floppy disk individually. And don't get me wrong, I just had like a podcast on, and it wasn't like daunting or meaningless. Like I enjoyed it. It's very therapeutic, but it doesn't mean that it didn't take a long time. Like these genuinely take a long time to do. So for anybody who's thinking of doing like a very creative bullet journal, just know that you're going to have to set some time apart or work on your bullet journal in pieces, which is fine because that's what I did. It took me about 2 days to finish my bullet journal from start to finish. Did you guys know? Okay, first of all, there might be some people here that don't know what floppy disks are. And if you don't know what a floppy disk is, ow, my heart. But anyway, it was like, it's a way to hold data, you know. It was like a storage like container. No, it was like a storage thingy. It was a way to hold storage. No, it was a storage to hold things. Oh my god. Anyway, did you guys know that a floppy disk only held 1.44 megabits of data? Which is mind-boggling, considering we have micro SD cards that are now a terabyte. They're a terabyte of data. So to give you an example, you need 771 floppy disks to make 1 gigabyte. 1000 gigabytes equals 1 terabyte. So that's a lot of floppy disks. And it's just amazing to think how far like technology has come from the floppy disk. And overall in general, like coming into the 80s, like doing this theme in general, I was like, what else came from the 80s? Video games, okay? The most insane video games that I love to this day, and I hope that future generations are going to love too. Things like Mario Bros, Tetris, Duck Hunt, okay? We don't talk about Duck Hunt enough. Duck Hunt doesn't get the love that it deserves. And like things like The Legend of Zelda. And now we're in virtual reality, making metaverses and selling JPEGs. A lot of my inspiration when making my monthlies is because I go on Pinterest. Pinterest honestly is one of the most important tools. This isn't wholeheartedly original. Like this isn't 100% original idea. I just took a bunch of little ideas and put them together into my own spread because somebody has made a floppy disk calendar before, and I thought that was awesome. So I did that. I took a header from another inspiration on Pinterest, and I put everything together to make it into something that I really liked. But I want you guys to know that a big part of my process when planning out my month is making that vision board that I always make on Pinterest. Like I will go about, 2-3 weeks ahead of time, take like an hour and just look through other people's spreads and make like little comments on what parts of that spread I enjoyed. But no shame in the game. I love taking inspiration from people. I love the ideas other people have. Now, for my habits, what I did this month was I kept my habits super low, okay? I kept them just to 4 habits, simple habits, okay? And not necessarily, that's the thing about habit tracking, right? You don't have to have a habit tracker just to build a habit, but you can also have a habit tracker to track when you do something, right? It's not necessarily a habit change, but maybe you are in the process of solidifying that habit, like you've already built it, now you want to see how well you're doing with it. That's another way to use a habit tracker, and that's one way that I use this habit tracker in my bullet journal. And so the 4 things that I wanted to essentially track this month are my meal tracking, okay, because I've been focusing a little bit more on health this new year, and I think we've been doing really good. But I have a meal tracker, like journal, where I track my workouts. I'll track like how many calories in and out and what I eat. And so I've been doing that every single day since November, and I've seen a huge improvement in my health because I've done that. Now, alongside with health is I'm tracking the days that I don't drink soda, and that is a problem because I absolutely love soda. It is my weakness. It's the bubbliness, okay? I know, I feel like every year this is still part of my habit tracker, but I never have been able to go like 30 days without just like going out with friends and like having a soda there, because somehow, some way, I'll pull some mental gymnastics and be like, oh, well, you can't go out and have a wings or pizza without a soda. That's just not right, okay? It's just not okay. So I just always end up getting the soda, and that's the problem. So I really want to go the 30 days here without drinking the soda. Then I have programming, because I am trying to become a front end and back end full stack developer. So I'm trying to program every day and then read. And I say read because, if you don't know, we have a book club. We have the Normally Productive Book Club, where we have a live book club meeting on my Twitch every 2 weeks. If you're interested in that and what books we're reading, you could actually find it on our Discord server, where we can leave reviews, book suggestions, and the Normally Productive Book Club is actually really, really cool. And it's also one of those tools that I made to kind of hold myself accountable to make sure I read. So I also decided to track it in my habit tracker. Now here I have my dailies. So as you can see, it's only 6 boxes per side, so per week. So it's Monday through Friday, and then the weekend is just 1 box, because I try to give myself the weekend off and not go too crazy. You know, you gotta have that work-life balance. But something that I've really, really enjoyed about my traveler's notebook, my Archer and Olive traveler's notebook, is the form factor. Like, it forces me to really prioritize my to-do list. Like, it forces me to decide what's important and what's not. And I'm not just adding random to-dos on my list, because I would be filling up unnecessary space. And I need to fit the things that are genuinely important. So I usually make a list on the side and kind of pick the most important of that day, or make a weekly list and then kind of separate them into the days where I'll be able to finish that weekly to do. But the form factor has really, one, forced me to be a little bit more creative with how I set my stuff up. 2, has made me prioritize what I'm going to do on a given day. And 3, I just love carrying around my little traveler's notebook. It's so much more comfortable than the A5. This has been a form factor now that I am loving for most of my journaling, because I'm now using like the Hobonichi weeks. I'm using my regular like traveler's notebook with the 3 inserts, and now I'm using my Archer and Olive traveler's notebook. And the form factor has honestly been one of my favorite things. Now, again, we just kind of went with the simple geometric design with a shadowed background. Nothing too crazy, but I think it's really nice. I tried not to go too artistic this month. Mind you, this is not too artistic, okay? We've all seen the super amazing, high quality freaking journals. And this still took me like 4.5 hours. I can't imagine how long it takes people to do these amazing works of art in their bullet journals. But I really like how the designs came out for my weeklies. Overall, a lot of this Plan With Me series that we're going to be doing monthly is going to be me catching you guys up with stuff that's happening in my life, or with the channel or the brand in general. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not always going to be just journaling, but think of it more of a just chatting kind of segment. Overall, this is my bullet journal. I think the pops of color were really nice. It's simple, right? I don't feel like I overdid anything or it feels too crammed or cluttered. And I think I'm going to be really excited to use this month's spreads. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you guys like this kind of content, let me know. You know, do you like the voiceover kind of journaling stuff? Do you want to see more journaling from me? I'd really like to know what you guys think about this. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you're doing for your month, what your month is, what kind of spreads you're including inside of your monthly stack. I'd love to know. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.